sign of equality, and so we put the moon in the flag. Look at this. Now this is the flag of Islam. Oh boy, y'all got it pinned. I understand. I ain't gonna fool with that. But here's a crescent moon. Now if it was so evil, why would it be in the universal flag of Islam? Yet the man that did it went off, but God said, I know what he knows not. He's going to go off, but what he does, I'm going to allow that evil to manifest something good and beneficial to life itself. So even though millions of lives may have been lost in the process of getting a better knowledge of self, something better was produced that can prolong life. So the loss of life in acquiring knowledge is justifiable. Ooh. Ooh. Jesus gave his life for the truth. So truth must be more important than the life of such a holy and righteous servant of God as Jesus. Knowledge and truth is above your life. So men and women give their lives for the sake of truth. Is that right? Yes. So then if lives are lost to bring us closer to the ultimate truth, the perfect knowledge of God and self, then that is a magnificent sacrifice that will ultimately show that there is no life that is not in vain. That life was spent for the purpose of getting a better knowledge of self and a better knowledge of God. Now, disappointment is something that you're still wrestling with. How many times have you been frustrated? And the power of frustration actually twists your intelligence. Come on now, let's reason together. I'm coming to something. I just want you to bear with me. Just relax now, because I ain't going to be here too long, but all night. I mean, no. Y'all with me so far? Look, have you seen frustration actually twist your intelligence? Have you seen people get so frustrated that they do things that later they regret and they think it's very rational? The people that commit suicide, I mean, they have a very rational reason to them. And they write it down, Dear Sam, I'm so frustrated with life. I've tried so hard. So I'm going up on the Sears Tower today and end it all. May God be with you. And here's somebody jumping off into a law of gravity that they can't defy. A law of falling bodies that fall at 32 feet per second. Every time a second goes by, it multiplies 32 feet. And this man is coming straight for the pavement. Rationally. Rationalize his life away to show you what disappointment and frustration of your own goals and objectives can cause you to twist your intelligence and you become a maniac, a fool, because you couldn't handle disappointment. You couldn't handle the frustration of your will, your desires. But if only we could say, I am Allah's. And maybe, Allah, this was not meant for me. Help me to see what is. But I'm yours and you are my patron, and to you is my eventual return. I'm going to hang in here until my change comes. You understand what I'm saying? All right, now. But as black people, we got a lot wiser. Because we learned that even the scientists, the holy wise scientists, the gods, can get frustrated and blow their minds. So that means nobody's safe. Nobody's exempt from trial. Let's move on down. I'm just picking this up quickly. 50,000 years ago, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us that there was another scientist named Shabazz, one of the gods, who, when we say gods, I mean a man of supreme wisdom, great intelligence, and power. He wanted to make a people close to nature that could conquer the jungle life of East Asia, which we now call Africa. The other scientists didn't agree with him. And instead of his submission to them, he rebelled. He said, hey, look, I know this can be done, and I'm going to do it. Well, you know, some of us are like that. Some of us have determined ideas. Everyone else may disagree with us, but we say, I don't care. I'm going to do it anyhow. Whatever the consequences, I'll take it. So, I mean, you like that. So these big boys, they like that too. So this man had a determined idea. Said he's going to do this thing. They said, fine, but you just won't do it here with us. You take your family down into the jungle of East Asia, and you go ahead and make your people. Well, he did. He went, and he experimented with human life. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, that's the origin of kinky hair. Your hair wasn't always like this. Your nose wasn't always this flat. Your lips wasn't always this thick. This is the work of a scientist of ours who wanted to strengthen the black man in such a way that he could conquer the life of the jungle, the wildlife. And we mastered that thing. I mean, you go to Africa now, your people have mastered that. They can trap the lions, trap the animals, master the animals. They live with the animals. They mastered the jungle life. But look at their toll that it took on. I mean, now Shabazz's people are the laughing stock of the whole world because he made you different from other black people. The whole world is full of black people, but not black people like you. You got black people in Africa today that have straight hair, real dark, keen features, ain't never been mixed with a white man. And those black people that you will find in some parts of Africa, in some parts of the Middle East, in some parts of the Indian subcontinent, they look at what is called the African black man with disdain. You are scorned and hated all over the world. No, nobody like this kinky, woolly-headed black man. Did you hear me? Yes, sir. Not only white people don't like you. Nobody likes us. Yeah, and that's the worst part. We don't like ourselves. But that's a fact, brother. Don't nobody like us. You go into the islands of the South Pacific, those are dark people. They don't go for you. I know sometimes it's nice to feel that you're loved by everybody. Because, you know, dark people outnumber white people on this earth 11-1. But all the dark people of the earth are not of the tribe of Shabazz. They are not of this tribe, this woolly-headed fella. Now, this woolly-headed fella, he's stretched out from Africa into the Isles of the Pacific, into the Caribbean. He's everywhere, but wherever he is, he's in bad shape. There's no place that boy is that he's in good shape. He's in bad shape. And he's in need of resurrection. But what Shabazz did, he produced something. Even though mentally we lost in this. We lost, when I say mentally, I mean part of the beating for rebellion is lack of guidance. Doesn't mean that your mental capacity is destroyed, but you don't have the guidance to build civilization. That's the point. I mean, we suffered from this, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, we have not had our day as black people in 50,000 years. But what kind of people did time produce? See? So God said, I know what you know not. I'm going to let it be. But what I'm going to produce in this letting it be is a people that are the strongest of the strong. There will never has been a people as strong as this woolly-headed black man. I'm talking about physical construction. I'm talking about construction of his skin, his blood, his bones. This is a super phenomenal being that he's made like nature itself. You know how nature is? Nature is indestructible. You trample the black man, just crush him. Blah, 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 blah. He come right back at you, boom, like spring, you know, next year. He pops up like winter never was, you know. I tell you the truth, brother. I heard you had to pay this in a long time. Has undergone and could undergo what you and I have undergone to prove the wisdom of God, that you are made physically a superior people. And all white folk, they're scared to death of you. That's right, that's right. It's really fear. We don't like these black folk. Why you don't like them? Because, good God, if we turn them loose, we won't exist anymore. That's why we don't want them messing around with our women. Because if they get our woman, there ain't no more of us. One drop of them cats' blood, and they changed the thing up. Hell, we even come in the black neighborhood and get a black woman, and we can't make a white child even though it's our seed. She fixes my seed up till it's like them. You just powerful. They're afraid of you. Genetically, biologically, you're really superior. And that you should know. But in terms of guidance, you are inferior. And that's only for a season and for a definite reason. Now let's move on quickly. Now this black man, look, now let's go on. We're going to say something here. I want you to think about it. In these last lectures I've been given, I wanted you to see that evil didn't start with white folks. That's what I'm trying to say to you. Evil didn't start with no white people, man. Evil been here a long time. And if the white man came from us, then he is the manifestation of something that is wrong with us. Now let's get to the nitty-gritty of this thing. Y'all all right? Yes, sir. I want you to hang with me just a couple more minutes. Now, remember what we said in the beginning. God wants man perfected. Man cannot be perfected unless he's tried under every circumstance, and he is fully manifested. Now, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said to us that Bible and Quran, these books, are written in cycles of 25,000 years. Some of our holy scientists, the book of Revelations, call them the 24 elders. But these scientists, there are 23 of them that actually do the work of writing the history. And they don't write it like they go in a book and write down, this is the way it's going to be 5,000 years from now, 10,000 years. We're just making something up and we'll put some abracadabra on and say, let it be. No, these are scientists who can listen to the thinking of the people. They listen to your thinking. Then they multiply your thinking and show what your thinking will produce in actual events. And what these events will produce in men that will shape these events and men that will come out of these events to do this and this and this. And before you know it, they've written the history of the entire nation. One time I was with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and somebody asked him, well, how can they see that far? He said, do you see this pen? Can you see this pen?
Yes, sir.
How many pens do I have?
One.
Okay. Can you see two pens?
No, sir.
Come on now. This pen is what you can see. With your mind's eye, can you multiply this pen and see two?
Yes, sir.
Can you see three?
Yes, sir.
Can you see four?
Yes, sir.
All you had to do was start with one. Then all you do is keep multiplying and you can see as many as you wish to see. What makes you able to say to your boy, boy, if you keep that up, this is going to happen to you. You ain't no prophet. What were you using? Come on. Mathematics. You were multiplying his action and his thoughts. And you can see what those thoughts and those actions were going to lead to. And you can predict events that's going to take place in the child's life. And you say, boy, you better watch yourself. Huh? Well, if you can do it on your little level, what do you think the holy wise scientists can do who can listen to populations think and know what their thoughts will produce and write the history that we call Bible or Quran for 25,000 years into the future? And when a portion of that book is to be revealed, one of the major scientists, either in a vision or a dream, or they come directly to the person or the prophet that is to correct a situation and give them a piece of the writing called scripture. These books are written in advance of what happened. And they're not written by people who don't see. These people who write Bible and Quran, they know what's going to happen. And you can't make them liars. They can see. All right, now listen to me well. It's very important. Everybody all right?
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to move as fast as I know how, but covering the point. I'm coming to something very significant. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says when the scientists went out and sampled the thinking of the people, they saw that in the year 8,400 of this present cycle, a man would be born named Yacub, born with a determined idea to make a new people on this earth, a new people that would be strange and different from any people that had ever been on this planet before. And that this people that he would make would rule with a contrary civilization that would wreak havoc on the earth. And when they brought their findings back to Allah, the judge, he looked at it. He could have said, we don't want this. He said, let it be. Why are you going to allow all this suffering? Because it's going to manifest human nature to its fullest and it will test the people under evil to see whether evil is as productive in their lives as good. So that at the end of this experiment, each of them will know that evil is not the way that they should go, but you must choose righteousness. And the only way you will choose righteousness voluntarily is that you must suffer enough under evil. But the evil that you see in operation, ultimately you must come to know that it springs from yourself. And then not only will you call for the destruction of this evil world, but you will call for the destruction of the evil in yourself that this is the manifestation of. Then you are ready to be made whole, perfect. Yacub was not wicked. Yacub was born with a determined idea. Stop right there. Determined, past participle. If he was born, he didn't determine the idea. So the man had nothing to do with it. So what the hell you blaming Yacub for? Somebody bigger than Yacub had determined that he was the one to be born out of the dissatisfaction of the masses. 30% of them were dissatisfied, to bring about a change that would affect the entire earth. So a child was born genetically prepared to do a work that would shake the entire world. His name was Yacub, a black scientist. And that young boy at 6 years old saw, as he was playing in the sand with two pieces of metal, he saw one attracting the other under its power. And he said, when I grow up, I'm going to make a people unalike who will attract the original and rule it. Before he was 18 years old, or at 18, he finished all the schools of his day. And he studied biology, genetics. And he discovered in the germ of the black man that he could produce color. We don't call you colored. We call you black, the essence of all color. And at one time there was no brown.
All right. That's right.
There was no red.
All right.
There was no yellow.
Cage.
There was just us, the original people. Now you say, well, I don't believe that. How old are the Chinese? Tell me what their calendars say. How old are the Japanese? Tell me what their calendars say. They're not but a little over 6,000 years old. The Indian, the people that you call Indians, they are not the brown man. They're not the yellow man. They are the so-called red man, but they're not red. They're original people. They predated all these other races on the earth. They and us are original people. Well, how long have we been here? Well, we don't have no calendar. You don't go among the Indians and ask them, where's your calendar giving us your birth? He said, I don't know. I just been here. With the earth, with Mother Earth and Father Sky. I just been here. Where's your birth record, black man? I don't know. Nothing about no birth record for me ever since I came into consciousness. I was here, and before me there was me. The sun don't show my beginning, because I am a people that was before there was a sun. Before there was a moon and a star, I, the black man, was. And I am, and I shall be. There's no end to me. I am from the beginning, from God. I am his first act of creation. But I was imperfect.
All right.
And he put me in the process of perfection. Therefore, I had to experience everything of myself to have a complete and thorough knowledge of myself. Because only when I know myself perfectly and completely can I be made whole, and from me a perfect heaven and a new earth that have no ending will come into existence, but I must be made perfect. So Allah said that in the beginning, that I would be perfect, we would be perfect, but we didn't know the process. There was a lot of pain involved, a lot of death involved, but all of that death served the process of life because it gave us a greater knowledge of truth and understanding of self and understanding of God. And so in the Quran, listen, Muslims, God is talking to the angels.
Yes, he is.
And he said to the angels, I'm going to place a ruler in the earth.
Yes, sir.
And the angels start talking back to God. What are you going to place in it except that which will create mischief and cause the shedding of blood? We extol your holiness. We know you're holy. We know you're righteous. But why would you do a thing like this? He said, I know. What you know not, let it be. So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said a white man was grafted from you.
Right.
He's called a sucker.
Come on.
Now, I'm not being vulgar. He's a sucker.
Yes, sir.
What is a sucker? Something that has no root in itself.
No root.
So you cut into a tree that is sucking from the earth, and you graft a shoot into the tree, and then it sucks from the life of the tree to make its own life. Paul said,
Come on.
Paul said, you should not boast against these, for you were a wild olive branch grafted in among the original. This is the white man. He's not natural. He was grafted into a people that were already here, and all the life that he got, he sucked it from you and me, and our fathers. Talk back to me. Yeah. He's a sucker. And he sucks today. Where's there some life for me, I'll go suck it up. Niggas got some knowledge I want. I'll go over there and suck from them. And he draws from us till he gets strong. And then he boasts against the thing that he sucked from and gained his strength. He was living up in Europe.
That's right.
Eating the bark of trees, eating juniper roots, eating flesh raw, laying around with the dogs. If there was 2 of them, the dog was the third. If there were 3 of them, the dog was the 4th. If there were 4 of them, the dog was the 5th. I'm talking about the Caucasian. In the north, in the cave, facing the north, didn't see the sun rise in the east or set in the west, and since you don't have no light in a dark cave, he grew hair all over himself like the other animals. Listen! Listen, black man, I ain't got time to mock no other human being. I just want you to know what came from yourself, so you know what's in you. A beast came from you because there's a beast in you that you got to get under control. But the white man is the manifestation of all the crap that ever was in you and in me. You're looking at it walking around now. It got flesh and form. And it give you hell because that evil of yourself gives you hell. God wanted you to see evil from yourself in a living form. Then he would put your true nature to sleep to allow the weaker part of yourself to dominate you, to show you why you must gain control of the weakness of yourself So that in getting control of the weakness of yourself, you've already conquered the white man, because he came from the weakness of you. Yacub made him, and I mean he made him. Grafted him out of us, starting with the brown and the yellow, then the white. Every one of them, he made them liars and murderers. So the white man is born a liar. He's born to murder. He's got a propensity to murder. He asks himself the question, why do I kill like this? I'm not like any other species, any animal. The animals kill because they're hungry. I kill for the love of killing. So the Bible calls him the blood shedder. He don't care nothing about life.
No, sir.
He's the destroyer of life. I'm talking about the Caucasian. The prophets came to him, he killed them.
That's right. That's right.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, he's the real devil of your Bible. But he's the devil that didn't come out of space. Came out of you. Let me talk about this devil a minute. Look, man. What I'm trying to get you to see is not something to hate white people. That's not the point of this lecture.
No, sir.
Point is that the Quran says, I created color. This is God talking. I gave you your different hues. See, he's telling you, my hand is over Yacub's. My mind is over his. I wanted you to see that as I produce color in the plants, and I produce color in the flowers, and I produce color in the rocks, I can produce color in life, in human life, but I have to bring it from an original source, and you are the source from which all human beings of color came. But he didn't bring them out of you for you to masquerade superiority or for them to walk around inferior. He says, I made you into tribes and families that you may know one another. See, God puts knowledge above it all. Yes, it's painful. Hell yeah, it's painful. But there's no price too much to pay for knowledge. The more you know, the stronger you are. The more you understand, the more power you can extract from what you know. Then there is no barrier before you become God. The thing that impedes you from growing to God is the impediment of your lack of knowledge. Therefore, when God introduces himself in the Quran, he says, Alif Lam Mim, I am the best knower. You want to come to me? Come up in knowledge, but there's a price you got to pay. I know I'm running over this quickly, and I should really take my time, but time is against us all. The Caucasian had to have come. If the Caucasian did not come, we would not have today this profound knowledge of ourselves. For in looking at this man, we see the worst of ourselves. You actually have the capacity to outdo him in evil because you are the original. And today you are outstripping the white man in the manifestation of wickedness. This white man that ruled you showed that you got evil in you because he couldn't bring it out of you if it wasn't in you. See, he made a freak out of you. Look at this, look at this, look at this. You, the original people of the earth, walking around, twisting. How did that happen, brother? How did you get to be such a funny fellow? It's because that's in you. How did you get to be a lesbian, sis? You can't bring it out if it ain't in. How did you get to be a liar, thief, an adulteress, a fornicator, a murderer, a backbiter, a slanderer. You all of that. We all of that, right? How did you get that way? Unless it was in you. The white man brought it out. He gave you a civilization where it's easy to be wrong, hard as hell to be right. Is that right? You do right in this world, you catch it. You do wrong, hey, people help you out. Hey, man, I want to do wrong, I'll help you. Want to rob a bank? I'll help you. I'll help you plan the job. I know that business. You want to do right? Oh, nigga, get out of here. This is the world, man. You the people of God. But you turn completely inside out. Where heaven is hell, and hell is heaven to you. When death is life, and life is death, you've been turned upside down. This is to prove that if you allow the weakness of yourself to get dominance over you, it will turn your knowledge upside down. And even though you think yourself to be intelligent, you will begin to act like a fool because you submitted to the weaker part of yourself. Now let's deal with a few things. Y'all all right? Yes, sir. Feeling pretty good. Now, wait now. We're at the end now. We're at the end. I just want you to bear with me. Look at these words in the Quran. Do you know that the Quran, my sister Tanetta Muhammad and I were wrangling over this morning at about 5 o'clock. Over coffee, we were talking about the angels, Iblis, and Shaitan. All these names that the Quran uses. These are not names of people. No. These are names of qualities in human nature that are forces that need to be controlled. Listen to me, please. God, talking to the angels, he said, I'm going to make a man. They say, fine. He makes a man called Adam. This is the Quran now. And he teaches Adam all the names and says to Adam, go back and ask the angels their names. And the angels couldn't answer. He said, well, Adam informed the angels of what their names are. And Adam went to talking to them, and he said, did not I tell you that I know what you know not in words, and I know what you manifest and what you hide? And look at the words. I know what you manifest and what you hide. He's talking to angels. He ain't talking to men. Angels are men of a high level, but they have things in them that are hidden even to themselves. I got to walk and talk because this thing is powerful. Look here. Everybody all right? Yes, listen, he says, angels are human beings, but they're human beings who have mastered certain realms that they willingly obey God. That's right. That's right. You know when the Quran says, Sister Muhammad, that, O soul that is at rest, well pleased with thy Lord well pleased with thee, and you are in such oneness with God that you're in perfect obedience to him, then you're on an angelic realm, even though you're a human being. But there are things, even in the angels, that they didn't know that were there. And so God, listen to this, made Adam and told the angels, bow to him. Now, you can interpret that many ways. I'd like to give you some thought on it. I know that the true interpretation is only with Allah, but nevertheless, we are, as students, can look at what God has revealed to learn from it. All the angels were made to bow to Adam. What is that telling you? All the forces in existence are to submit to the man. But Iblis did not. Is Iblis an angel? Or is Iblis a force?